Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tony Moze, and today I want to talk about my 18 lessons, experiences, and takeaways at being at the Startup Leadership Program. So I became a fellow at the Startup Leadership Program because back in 2015, I got into learning and pursuing business, right? I was doing musical book reviews, so and saw that vocabulary was doing and wanted to carve my niche in the entertainment education industry. Initially, my startup idea was to build a book summary platform. Whatever you guys see on my YouTube from years ago was an idea that I thought I wanted, I could scale. So, something a little different than Blinkist, where I wanted to serve grades K through 12, providing book summaries in an entertaining way using music, acting, and animation. Since I was so new to the idea of entrepreneurship and business, I figured I would dip my toes into the industry to get a better understanding and see if this idea was executable. So what is the SLP? What is the Startup Leadership Program? So the Startup Leadership Program is a highly selective world-class training program for outstanding founders, leaders, and innovators who want to become top startup CEOs. The SLP Fellows have founded nearly 1,900 or 1,900 successful startups and raised more than $700 million in funding. So the idea is to get your startup idea into an executable and sustainable business. And if you already have a startup that has been fully built, the possibility is having you being able to exit your startup. So, right, being able to sell it, have it acquired, what it may be. So this SLP, the Startup Leadership Program, was founded by a man named Anupendra Sharma, as well as 7 other fellows. Anupendra Sharma, he calls himself Anu for short, is an investor. He served on many board committees and is a great resource for the startup community. I was in the Boston, Massachusetts cohort of 2017 to 2018. There were about 14 people in my cohort. People came from various employment backgrounds, of various startup ideas, and other levels of the startup life cycle. So you had some people who were in ideation, they had an idea. You had some people who were already executing it. They already had something built. Or maybe somebody in between who had just an MVP and now wants to see if they could actually move up higher. And then you also had people who were executing it, exiting it. So you had different stages of where people were at. So the setting of where this took place was located near downtown Boston. Our program was held in a 6-story building overlooking the beautiful city of this, and surrounding towns. It was normally held in the evening during the week, and it went for about 3 hours. They provided us dinner, snacks, and refreshments. So here are the things that I learned, right? There's some 10 things that I learned, and then I'll follow it up with about, some of takeaways that I had from it. So 10 things I learned. First thing was learning how to talk the talk of a VC and angel investor. So Anu, he's an investor, and hearing the jargon and the things that he says and the way he talks, and when you're pitching, he'd ask these questions, and when you email him, and it's almost like you're in boot camp. Like like he's really pounding it into. This is how you need to talk. This is how you need to conduct yourself. This is what you need to do. If you're dealing with this, how's somebody want to deal with you when you do this? You learn that stuff. Number 2, understanding legal term sheets. So, you watch Shark Tank, right? People don't know what happens at the end when it comes down to, okay, I like your business. All right, I'll pay, I'll give you $250K. At the end, you start going through these things called legal term sheets. So it's you, the entrepreneur, it's the investor, and then in between, it's the attorneys, and they're battling it out. You're all battling it out. Because then you start to uncover exactly, look at all the skeletons in the door. You get to look at the person's financial statement. You get to look at the business model. You get to see everything on paper and everything that's been projected earnings and already, what they're making gross and all that stuff like that. And then things start to change. So when you start seeing this objective data, that's, when you're dealing with legal term sheets, you're dealing with all this data now that you could visually see on paper, and that is where the equation starts changing potentially. So understanding legal term sheets, that was interesting. Pitch decks, forming a pitch deck to talk about your startup, the problem, the solution, the market you're serving, all that stuff. What's the business model? So pitching that and doing that in a nice flow that's clear. It's touching the points that they're looking for. Doing those pitch decks. Number 4, understanding your product and the market fit. So it's understanding like what is your product doing and who is it serving. Number 5, empathy maps in the buyer's journey. So it's empathy, right? Understanding your potential customer and understanding where are they in that journey, in that cycle. Are they tire kickers? Are they people who need they need this product now? They've done their research. They checked out competitors. You got to understand stuff like that. Number 6, they made us go out into the streets and interview strangers on their thoughts. We had to pretty much just do, interviews with people in the street about specific products and understanding their pain points and their ideas regarding this. So that was really interesting because you're cold approaching people and asking them, what do you think about this product? What do you think about a book summary product? Like, when you wouldn't blatantly go up there, but like if you said, we have a book summary product, what would you want it to do for you to make your life better? Number 7, we had a pitch fair. So you would stand there kind of like, we would stand at our kiosk and wait for random people to stop by, and we would have to pitch our product and answer their questions. So, some people will come up to you, maybe one person comes up to you. I mean, it's, you have your thing, and then if it piques their interest, obviously they'll come up and go, so what do you do? And then you would have to give them a 30-second to a minute pitch. They'd ask you some questions, you'd answer it. And it's good, man. At the end, if they liked it, they'll toss a token or a ticket in your box. The person with the most token or tickets wins. Also, it's good feedback for you too, to understanding what can you said better. Do you even know your product and your startup enough? Stuff like that. So it's good feedback. Number 8, Startup Leadership Program invites previous alumni who built or exited their startups, all right? And we got to hear their stories, ask questions, pitch our startups, and receive feedback from them. So that was good. Number 9, we sit in on a mock negotiation between an IP attorney and an entrepreneur, or even myself. You get to watch this stuff all go play a part. It was cool. Number 10, we had some of the associate attorneys teach us some legal concepts and the way of startups and all that stuff like that. At the end of the cohort, I learned a lot, and I have about 8 takeaways. All right, and the first one is I learned that my startup idea was just an idea, and that the thing that was holding me back from moving forward was knowing my user base. That's the question. What is your user base? What is your user base? Who are you serving? What is your user base? I didn't know that. So this is important, knowing who my market is. What is their age, gender, location, occupation, tastes, behaviors, habits, lifestyle, etc. At that point, I was just doing a hobby. I was having fun, making music, and summarizing books. So it was just a hobby. It was not a business. Number 2, I learned when it comes to making pitches, you need to be able to summarize yourself or summarize your startup in 30 seconds or less. What is your company? What does your company do? And what market are you trying to serve? Number 3, if you know the type of market you want to serve, make sure you ask a lot of questions to a lot of people in that market. Okay? Your theories and personal intuition will not help in building a product. Number 4, just because your mom likes your idea does not mean everyone else will. So make sure you get out there and you really serve cold prospects, not warm or even hot prospects like your mom or dad or your cousin and your best friend. Go out, branch out, get out there and show your product and your startup to other people, because then you can get real data, real feedback, true feedback. 6, 5, legal term sheets can get very challenging. Make sure you get an attorney who is specialized in the industry you're in. Number 6, when you have an idea or a product, make sure you go after venture capitalists and angel investors who are in the industry you're trying to serve. So if it's education, finance, entertainment, healthcare, I would rather have an investor as well as a board of advisees or advisors who have worked in those respective fields. Next thing, 2 heads are better than 1. And as much as you can move quick doing it alone, you can move high and far with a team. So make sure to look for a co-founder and build a small team. And lastly, bootstrap. So bootstrapping, is basically doing it without someone else's funding other than your own, or other than maybe your own blood, sweat, and tears, your own sweat equity. Bootstrapping allows me to try it myself on a small scale. If it works and the process has been repeatable, producing revenue, and you've been able to scale, maybe in a small form, you've been finding out like, wow, more and more people are liking this, and you want to scale fast, you want to bring it out to more people, you have big visions, then after bootstrapping will be to consider angel or VC funding. So I hope you liked my 18 experiences, lessons, and takeaways. If you have any comments, do put it below. I'll share some links. This was a startup leadership program. I am from the cohort of 2017-2018 from Boston's chapter. And thank you very much for listening. And I hope to hear from you soon. Take care.